Welcome to Edinburgh Napier University Library. The library is here to help you find all the information you need for your teaching and research, and indeed all the information your students on your modules will need as well. We've put together a video to help you get the best out of the library and what it has to offer. And we've filmed a few of your fellow academics, giving you some hints and tips about actually how they use the library and what they find most useful. We think the best approach is to make a short appointment with your subject librarian who can teach you the ropes about using the basic services we have to offer.
I use the library mainly for research for lectures. I look for journal articles for students to read, although they don't like me to find too many for them, because the better students say that leaves them with nowhere to go to show off that they can do the research. But I also use it very much in my own studies, and I mainly use it for electronic journals. When I'm looking for electronic journals, I use the NewInLink system, which is basically a search which searches across the various databases. And I normally go into it, I use the advanced search so that I can select options. And then one of the things I do like about the version that we have is that it tells you straight away whether you have access to the full journal article. I would recommend to new staff that they go to the library, speak to the library contact, who'll be only too willing to help, to explain everything that's available, because there's so much available that I personally have only scratched the surface of, I know, and it's really worthwhile finding out what's there so they can then pass that on to the students. I've just recently learned about Discovery, which is the new catalogue in the library, which is far more advanced than the classic version. And the big advantage of it is that you don't need to know exactly what you're looking for. When you go in, you can use keywords in the same way that you would with other search engines, and it will also suggest further options. It then breaks down what it's found into e-resources, journals, books, etc. So if you're looking for a particular type of resource, you can then follow it that way. And it's very, very easy to quickly narrow down your search to exactly what you're looking for. So I would certainly something that I'll be using now that I know about it, and I think I would probably recommend that others use it too.
One of the most important roles that academics can play is to get students to use the library meaningfully right from first year, so that they don't have a shock at third year, so that they don't suddenly think, oh my gosh, I've got to write an honours project, an honours dissertation, and my supervisor is saying, oh, 60 to 80 references. How do I find references? What's the journal article? The subject librarian is normally the first starting point, because that person's partly a subject expert and also usually a very experienced librarian who'll be able to introduce a new member of staff to the library services physically and online. And I think the best thing that a new member of staff can do is to book an appointment, book some time, a meeting with a subject librarian. The great thing is that I can ask the library to digitise one chapter, specific chapter, and it's there, and I can put it onto WebCT for students. The other thing that I'll do with WebCT is to place on there the set reading list. Now that set reading list is backed up with help and support from the library. I know it sounds really silly, but the service in the library is really good. The people are friendly. It's easy to go to the desk. You feel comfortable, and I think everything is made easy for students and for staff to be able to go there.
The resources are great. They're also really helpful if the resources aren't there, about trying to figure out ways of accessing the information. So even if we don't actually physically have or electronically have the information, they're really good at finding ways of accessing information. The first thing I would say is to come down and speak to the librarians, because they're really, really friendly and helpful. They can introduce the resources that are available, such as the searching engines that you can use, such as NewInLink, which is the search engine for looking for e-books, for databases, for journals and different things. But they are really a wealth of information, so I would come and speak to them.
We're very lucky with the libraries that we have, in that the resources on the shelves usually are very up to date, And often the librarian, because they know what you're looking for, they can say, oh, well, we're thinking about buying new resources in this area, can you give us some advice? So it's two-way traffic as well, actually. I suppose one of the key things is in designing a module, for example, I would start off by talking to the library staff, because they have access to all the resources and can give you advice on the best way to use resources. You can go into the library, you can talk to the staff there, and they'll point you in the right direction for things. But also, you can access the library online, and that's really important. I'd recommend looking at the subject guides online. I've found that very useful with regards to designing modules and module content. I'll also usually invite a member of the library staff to come and join me when we're doing introduction to a module, and just to talk about the useful sources of information for the students that they would actually recommend.
Go and talk to their librarian. Go and say hello, because if you're friendly with the librarian and your faculty library advisor, if you know them and you can talk to them easily, and they've got a good idea of the sorts of things that you're interested in, they can sort everything out for you. So even if there is a facility that is essentially a self-service thing, you log onto the website and you can do it yourself. The first time you use that, you typically need someone to show you the ropes. So going to talk to the faculty librarian is a really useful thing, and ours is very helpful.